Chag HaShabbat. Yismechu, Yismechu, Yismechu. Caleb, you have that E minor 7 flat 5 chord down? E minor 7 flat 5? You got that down? Excellent. It's also a half diminished chord. All right.
Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to each of you this Shabbat evening. This Shabbat, which that last bit of melody just reminded us, directly precedes Rosh Hashanah that began. Rosh Hashanah? My friends, I think I'm in need of Shabbat this week. We are preceding Passover, but you're paying attention, and I like that. Oh my goodness, that melody which reminded us that we are right before Passover. That begins on Monday evening, that special tune we just heard. We are also celebrating this evening, beginning to celebrate with Caleb Sosnowitz and his family, as Caleb will be called to the Torah tomorrow morning as a bar mitzvah. So whether you have come into this sanctuary to celebrate simchas, to find comfort in a difficult time, or simply to ease into Shabbat after the week that is concluding, welcome, and may we each find what we truly need in this Shabbat service this evening. So we will continue bringing in Shabbat with the light of our Shabbat candles. I'd love to invite Caleb and his family forward to help us kindle our Shabbat candles. We also have tea lights here at the table in the front and also in the back over there if you would like to kindle your own Shabbat lights.
Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kirishanu b'mitzvotav V'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
We will continue together now on our handouts. Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharei, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharetz, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Barchuni L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharetz, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Tzedchem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharetz, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
We continue together now in our prayer books, which are found in the seats in front of you. In our prayer books on page 1 with Yedid Nefesh, addressing God as beloved of our souls.
Yedid Nefesh HaRachaman, Yedid Nefesh HaRachaman, Eshocha B'cha, El Ritzonecha,
turn together now to page 9. Page 9, the Hebrew at the top of the page, we'll look at to the final 2 lines of that Hebrew. May God give strength to God's people. May God bless God's people with peace.
Adonaios le'amo itein Adonai yivarech et amo. Adonaios le'amo itein Adonai yivarech et amo.
Beginning on page 10. Page 10, we find the words of Lecha Dodi, with which we welcome in Shabbat with joy. We will sing together the verses with asterisks. And on the final verse, verse 9, we will rise together as we are able and face the entrance, welcoming the presence of Shabbat.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. 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 Shamor v'sachor v'dibur echad tishmi'anu el hamiuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad v'shemo tiferet v'nitila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki mekor habracha merosh mikedem nesucha sof ma'aseh b'machshavat tehila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Mikdash melech ir melucha u'mitei mitoch ha'amdecha. Rav lach shevet yemek ha'macha u'yachamol alaykecha. Lecha Dodi likrat kala התעוררי, כי בעורף מאורי, אורי אורי שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה, לך אדוני לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה, לך אדוני לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. אוי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך אדוני לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה, לך אדוני לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה.
And we'll remain standing now. I'd like to invite in, there's a tradition where we welcome anyone in mourning in Shiva into the sanctuary after L'Chadodi. Alan Stein, you can come on in, and Ed and the Perrin family, we embrace you as well. On the top of page 13, I'll invite all of us to join together in the traditional words, which we hope will enfold those going through these difficult moments in the love of our community. Hamakom yinachem etchem b'toch sha'ar avelei Tzion v'Yerushalayim. Sorry, page 13. May the Holy One comfort you among the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. We will remain standing now as we continue on page 15 with Chatzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, וילמד יברח חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה בגלה, ובזמן קריב ימרו. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה. לכולי מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמה וימרו. ברכו את אדוני המבורך. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Vaed. Baruch Adonai. Umavir yom, umevi laila. Umavdil ben yom uven laila Adonai tzavaot shemo elechai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai amari v'aravi. Ki hemachayenu ve'orech yameinu Uvahem nehye yomam v'layla ve'ahavatecha אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם.
And we can be seated. Page 18. 18.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך
היום
על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
On the top of page 21, we find the words of Mi Chamocha, and it's on this Shabbat preceding Passover. Passover.
I just got it.
On the Shabbat before Passover, we feel especially fervently the meaning of this prayer, these words sung by our ancestors after they escaped from bondage into freedom. And with these words, we not only pray that we may be free from whatever restricts us, but that we can also be the creators of freedom and of justice in this world of ours, a world sorely in need of greater freedom and healing and peace and justice.
Mi chamocha v'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar v'kodesh, nora tehilot מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע הים לפני משה ומרים. זה אלי, אנו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר כי ודע אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
On the bottom of page 21, continuing on the bottom of page 22, Adonai, enable us to lie down this night in rest, in sleep, and raise us up to life renewed, spreading over us a shelter of peace, a Sukkot Shalom.
Baruch atah. Atah, is that where you were going?
I like it.
Haporei Sukkot Shalom.
On page 22, the last 4 lines of the Hebrew.
Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Baruch atah, atah Adonai, haporei Sukkot Shalom. Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim Shalom. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim Shalom. Baruch atah, atah Adonai, haporei Sukkot Shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael.
On the top of page 21, we will continue with Vishamru. On the top, 23, top of page 23. Oh my goodness, Cantor. I'm
Shabbat
having
shalom.
an evening. Shabbat shalom. On the top of page 23, we will continue with Vishamru. After we sing Vishamru together, we will continue with a few moments of silent prayer, the silent Amidah, which, if you are praying the words in our prayer books, continues through page 32. We rise together as we are able.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et haShabbat, la'asot et haShabbat, ledorotam berit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et haShabbat, la'asot et haShabbat, ledorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam. Hey! Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et haShabbat, la'asot et haShabbat, ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Hey! Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et haShabbat, la'asot et haShabbat, ledorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. Uvayom hashvi Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. Hey! Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et haShabbat, la'asot et haShabbat, ledorotam berit olam. in every generation, we must act as if we were just released from slavery, as if we had just received our freedom. Bechol dor vador, a text from the Haggadah. Bechol dor vador, chayav adam lirot et atzmo כאילו יצא ממצרים. בכל דור ודור חייב אדם לראות את עצמו כאילו יצא ממצרים. בכל דור ודור חייב אדם לראות את עצמו כאילו יצא ממצרים.
We continue together on our handouts, on the back of the handout, with a setting of Matira Surim, our prayer to free the captives.
Baruch atah Page 33. Page 33, in the middle of the page, we continue with a prayer for Israel. We read together, Avinu Shabbat Shamayim, Rock and Redeemer of the people of Israel, bless the state of Israel with its promise of redemption. Shield it with your peace. Guide its leaders with your light and your truth. Strengthen the hands of those who defend the land. Deliver them. Crown their efforts with triumph. Bless the land with peace and its inhabitants with lasting joy. And let us say, Amen. At this time in our service, we call into our hearts all those who are in need of healing. Healing of mind, of body, of spirit. If you'd like to share the name of someone for whom you are praying, if you've joined us streaming online, please share their names in the chat or in the comments so we can include them in our own prayers. And present together in the room, I invite you to share the names of those for whom you are praying as I look around the room. Misha Berach is also on your handouts on the back of the page.
Misha Berach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel Leah Hu Yivarech Ve'yirapeh et HaCholim Misha Berach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel Leah Hu Yivarech Yirapeh et HaCholim El Narefai Nala El Narefai Nala El Narefai Nala El Narefai Nala Misha Berach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel Leah Hu Yivarech Ve'yirapeh et HaCholim.
I was recently speaking to someone, and we got to talking about Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel and his legacy. While Abraham Joshua Heschel is held in high esteem nowadays for his orientation toward justice, and we remember him walking with Martin Luther King Jr., and that famous quote of Rabbi Heschel's that when he did so, he felt as if his legs were praying. We remember all of these things. We hold him as our own and in high esteem, but in his own day, he encountered an incredible amount of pushback and opposition, and even received dangerous threats for his activism. And while Heschel valued ritual, he was much more interested in what practice is supposed to lead us to, working for the common good. He called this depth theology. Depth, not shallow. Depth theology. Not the theology that speaks just about one particular conception of the nature of God, but a belief rooted in a much deeper and more important issue of the common good. He is quoted as saying, "Don't worry if the gelatin is kosher, worry if the nuclear weapons are kosher." And after our conversation, I kept thinking about Rabbi Heschel, and I was remembering one particular story he told in general. He's descended from a rabbinic line, a long line of rabbis, and he told the story of visiting a relative, an older cousin, I believe, who was a Hasidic Rebbe in Europe. And he watched this Rebbe receiving visitors all day long. People would come from long distances just to have a few moments with him. And Heschel noticed that the Rebbe greeted many people by name, and time again he saw that the Rebbe remembered conversations he had had with so many people before, remembering details of their lives, recalling their tsuras, their challenges. And at the end of the day, after the crowd dissipated, Heschel asked his cousin how he could possibly remember so many people, especially people he'd only met for just a few moments some time ago. And this is what the Rebbe said: "When someone comes to me and shares their tsuras, their wounds, become my own, and each one leaves a little scar deep inside my heart, and they become a part of me. And then when I pour out my prayer to God, I open up my heart and say, look at all of these scars." It's no wonder that this Rebbe was thought of as a healer, as someone who provided comfort and balm to souls. He opened his heart to others, so much so that he was deeply, permanently affected by their afflictions and their stories, feeling as if he bore those scars in his heart. But he greeted each person as a full person, not just for their tsuras, but for their humanity. Last week's Torah portion, in large part, discussed the procedure to be followed when a person comes down with a scaly affliction of the skin or scalp called sara'at, and based on how the condition presents, how long the condition takes to resolve or not, there was a very specific ritual that was followed, a procedure that was followed. The Kohen, the priest, would directly attend to the afflicted person, looking at the condition at the beginning of the process and after time had passed. And this week's Torah portion, Metzora, continues on this theme, discussing as well what happens when a person's home is afflicted with sara'at. And in the time of Torah, this was likely much more like mold or some kind of growth on the skins used on tent walls in the homes in the Israelite camp. Similar to the procedure for skin afflictions, in this case, the priest would come to the home, see with his own eyes what was happening to the walls of the home, and based on what he saw, dictate the particular procedure that was to be followed. Rather than shunning a person with the affliction or whose home was afflicted, rather than polite society and its leaders distancing themselves from this person or family, the Kohen himself, who held a position of honor within the community, would come and look. Our Torah portion says, V'ra'ah ha-Kohen, the priest would see. Rather than turning his eyes away, the Kohen would look and see. And I believe that this was to model to the entire community that they were not to distance themselves from someone going through a tough time, but rather to look them in the eye and truly see with a goal of understanding. The priests would not just look at the affliction, they would see past that to the human being who bore the affliction. The priest wouldn't look just at the condition of the tent walls, but would see the home and the family that dwelled within it. What if we too could open our hearts to those who are afflicted? What if we could look at a person and not just encounter their illness or their grief or their poverty or their tsuras, but truly see the human in need of care who happens to be going through a difficult time? It's so often the case that sadly in seasons of our lives when we're most in need of help or support or connection, we may find ourselves feeling isolated. Sometimes, God forbid, someone gets a diagnosis or undergoes treatment, and this person is in need of care and support, of someone to bring groceries by, of company during treatment, of distraction, of friendship, or someone experiences the loss of a loved one and they need the support and presence of community. But all too often, without even intending to, we take a step back. We worry. I don't know what to say. What if I say something wrong? Should I talk about what's happening or not? Should I mention the name of their loved one who passed? I don't want to impose myself on them. I'll call them next week, but then that week passes, and another, and slowly, almost imperceptibly, step by step, we treat the afflicted person like they are defined by their affliction or their tsuras. Grief and illness and crises in the lives of others remind us of our own mortality, of our own vulnerability, remind us of the scary fact that at any time, any of us could be the ones in need of support. If we open our hearts to those afflicted with grief or illness or crisis, won't their wounds become our own? Maybe. But like the Rebbe in the story with Rabbi Heschel, perhaps our own hearts might bear those scars in a way that opens us to deep relationship with God, with each other, and with our community. Perhaps we need those scars on our hearts. Living with open hearts in this way will bring meaning and purpose to our lives. I bet that each of us have had experiences where we felt
deeply, truly seen by another person. And I bet each of us maybe have met someone in our lives. Perhaps we've been lucky enough to meet a number of people in our lives who strike us with the power of their ability to open their hearts to others and feel seen. Sometimes when I think of that quality in other people, I remember my first year of college at the University of Virginia, and I got to know the young couple, even though I wasn't involved in Chabad, and it's a separate conversation about Chabad, but I was involved in Hillel, but I got to know the young couple who ran the Chabad on campus, and I learned that every Friday morning, the Rebbitzin went to the home of a community member and made challah with her. And it turns out that a little over a year beforehand, after what had seemed to be a healthy full-term pregnancy, she had gone into labor and the baby was stillborn. And she was paralyzed with grief. And when the flow of meals and cards and offers of help slowed to a trickle, the Rebbitzin checked in on her week after week before Shabbat and would just come and make challah and be together in her company. And she did this week after week for years. That young Rebbitzin opened her heart and saw not only the tsuris, the affliction, but the human beneath. Opening our hearts, looking past the challenging situation to the person experiencing it, doesn't have to come in the form of grandiose gestures. It comes in the form of small acts, day in and day out. Small acts that make me proud of the work of our Shalom Center. Marcy, you're here with our Shalom Center. Acts like bringing a meal to someone who's recuperating from surgery, planning a time not only to come meet and hold a sweet newborn baby, but make sure their parents get to have a meal unencumbered, or a nap, or take a shower. Making a note in your calendar to call your friend on the other side of the country 3 weeks after a loved one passes away, and then 5 weeks, and periodically, once the quiet may have become overwhelming. Our Torah portion reminds us we're obligated to encounter each other not just for what is afflicting a person, not defining them by the worst moments of their lives, but looking deep within to their humanity. Each of us, our Torah portion teaches, are not to avert our eyes and create distance, but rather to walk toward those afflicted, look them in the eye and encounter them. It's not just in moments of major crisis or tragedy that we have the opportunity to do so. Every day, we have the opportunity to look others in the eye, to listen with a desire to understand rather than to simply respond, and to consider who in our circles of connection we have the ability to help in a small way. In this week and the coming weeks, may we move past discomfort to truly be present for others. May we look past any tsuris to the human being beneath. May we open our hearts. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may this be God's will. Amen. It is my great pleasure now to invite forward Jonathan Miller, representing our board of directors, to share some words of greeting and announcements with us.
Thank you. My name is Jonathan Miller. I am from the board of directors representing here tonight. And my glasses broke on the walk between my car and here, so they look a little weird if I'm a little lopsided. Okay, so let's see what's going on. First of all, on the back of the little pamphlets, there's a whole list of dates of things, of fun things. I'm going to highlight a few of them. Parlor meetings. Look at your temple emails and see information for the upcoming gatherings, which are called parlor meetings. During the gatherings, we're going to share details about the new campus, including new updated renderings. We will invite you to support the campaign to build our new home. It's critical that everybody participates, no matter how much. In these meetings, we will talk about and show you some of the renderings. We really need 100% participation from everybody in the community. Every single gift is meaningful and does make a true difference. We have meetings scheduled on Sundays, early evenings, late evenings, so you can find a convenient time. There's a schedule outside over by where the name tags are, And if you don't find a time that works for you or a location, let us know. We will make sure that somebody contacts you. One of the things that I always say is that somebody built the temple for me, so it's my turn to build the temple for somebody else, even if I'm not going to necessarily stay there for the next 50 years. My children will, my grandchildren will, hopefully. And it's something that's important, that we're all here for a reason, and that we partake in that and build that new temple. Second cup. Enjoy the second cup of inspiring conversation. Rabbi Siegel, our last second cup before the summer is Sunday, I think 2 weeks, April 28th at 9:45. Passover. Let's see. Festival and Yizkor services will be in participation with a combined Reform community led by clergy from local Reform congregations, including our own Temple Chai. The service, which includes a Yizkor memorial service on the 7th day of Passover, will be held April 29th at 10 a.m. at Congregation Beth Israel, the corner of 56th and Shea. Pizza party. After Passover on April 30th at 5:30 p.m., a picnic. Come share some chametz with us at our pizza party, welcoming new members into the congregational community. The event is open to all members and presents an opportunity for new members to meet with other fellow members, staff, board members. Let's be sure to attend and make our new members feel welcome and warm. Dorot services. On Friday, May 3rd, join us for our multi-generational Dorot Shabbat at 6:15, during which we will honor teachers, madrachim, who are the assistant teachers, religious school aides, and the service will be followed by a community Shabbat dinner. We want to thank our volunteers. One of them tonight is Barry, who was one of the first people I met when I moved here. He's helping us back there with the AV and the sound and everything, so we thank Barry back there. Board members, those of us have our name tags on. If you have any questions, please give us a shout, let us know. We're happy to be here. Thank you very much. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Yasher Koach. We will return now to our prayer books for our concluding prayers. Aleinu can be found on page 38. Page 38, please rise as you are able.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יחיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. We think now of all those we've loved and lost, friends, family, members of our congregational community for whom we are in a period of mourning or observing a yahrzeit. If you've joined us streaming online, please share the names of those you are remembering in the chat or in the comments. We can hold them close in our hearts with our own. We remember those who died in recent days within a period of Shiva, the first week of mourning, or Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning. If you're here remembering these beloved individuals, please rise as I share their names. We remember Marilyn Perrin, Naomi Stein, and Enid Cosby Ivar. If anyone else is in a period of mourning or observing a yahrzeit, I invite you to rise as you are able and share their names.
zichronam livracha. May all their memories be for a blessing. Together we turn to page 40, and we rise as we are able, as one community in support of all those in mourning and who are remembering. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabba, v'yalma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon uv'yomechon, uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'gala uv'izman kariv imru amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevarach le'alam u'lalmei almaya, yit barach v'yishtabach v'yit pa'ar v'yit romam v'yit naseh, v'yit hadar v'yit ale v'yit halal shemed kudusha brichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechemata, damiran b'yalma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved, as again we say, amen. From the holiness of memory, we return to the joy and sanctity of this moment of Shabbat, and in happy anticipation of the bar mitzvah tomorrow morning, Caleb will lead us in Kiddush. Page 41.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pari hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, v'ahav uratzon, hinchilanu, zikaron le'maaseh v'reishit, kilu yom techila, le'mikra'ei kodesh, zecher litziat Mitzrayim, kivanu b'charta, v'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodeshecha, v'ahava uvratzon, hinchaltanu, baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha-shabbat.
L'chaim. L'chaim. Baruch atah b'voecha, baruch atah b'tzeitecha. As you were blessed, bringing blessings with you into the sanctuary, so may you be blessed, bringing blessings with you as you go. Shabbat shalom.
Hello.